Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you guys doing? My name is Dr. Lia Abney, and welcome to Keep It Moving Monday Morning Motivation. You guys, I hope that y'all had a great weekend. This weekend was actually wonderful for me, and I hope that you were also able to accomplish your goals on last week. I know sometimes things can be very challenging, but that's why we come here every Monday morning so that you can be motivated to achieve the goals for your life. So you guys, y'all know how I like to start the top of the episodes. I like to start talking about the weekend. How was y'all weekend? How are y'all doing? If this is your first time, please don't be shy. Go ahead and say good morning to those who are listening. I would like to say good morning to you as well. Go ahead and say hello in the chat, and then also tell me where you are from. If there are something that you are working on that you're having challenges with, please feel free to put it in the chat, and I'll be glad to get back to your question. So you guys, this weekend has been very eventful. First of all, I hope that everybody had a wonderful Mother's Day weekend, that you spent time with family and friends. I had the opportunity to do the same thing. My youngest son came with his fiance, came to visit me with my daughter who graduated. Those of you who watched the last episode, yes, I had a couple of full weekends. So the weekend before, I went to my last seed, graduated from college, and so she is now transitioning into the workforce, and she is staying with her older brother, who is my youngest son, up in Atlanta. So they came down to visit me, and we went to the air show here in Augusta, which was, I've been here for a long time, and yes, I've been to a lot of air shows before, but this is the first one I went to here in Augusta, and I absolutely enjoyed myself. Yes, the weather was hot, but the event was, well, what I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised. The food wasn't bad. Plenty of water stations. And the food was good. The company was good. The show was good. Very organized, even down to places for you to be able to use the restroom. So I was and also hand sanitation stations. So I was very pleased, and I really enjoyed myself. But first and foremost, it was really just an opportunity to spend time with my children. So of course, my oldest son wasn't with me because he lives in Texas. So I did have a really good time. But in the midst of all that, you guys, I still was brainstorming. My mind was still moving on things that I want to do, what I want to accomplish during the year. And I'm so sure that you have probably been doing the same thing. You know, maybe you're in that same season as I am. And so one of the things that I realized, I said, Leah, you know, you got a lot of things that are moving, but there are also some things that you're having to make decisions on. So how do you problem solve those things? Well, you guys, that's what I'm going to be talking about on today. I'm going to be talking about problem solving and how to master that, because sometimes we're having to make decisions, or a situation comes, you know, in our lives, or when it comes to our job or our choices or decisions that we have to make. And so how do we problem solve that? And so that's what I want to talk with you guys on today. So you guys, just stay tuned. And good morning. Thank you for joining me. So you guys, just stay tuned, because I am going to be right back with some tips for you today.
Black G.
Good morning and good day to you guys and everyone to Keep It Moving Monday Morning Motivation. And today we are going to be talking about problem solving and how it can help you overcome obstacles in your life. But before we get started, those who are first joining me for the first time, I want to welcome you and again introduce myself. I am Dr. Lia Abney. I am the owner of Lia Abney LLC. I'm also an author and a speaker. If you desire to learn more about what I offer as far as services and products, please visit my website at Lia Abney LLC. Also, if you find that this episode has been helpful and you're like, I want to learn more, you can learn more by going to YouTube. I am on YouTube, and you can subscribe to my channel, and I greatly appreciate that. So thank you so much. So let's get started with today's topic. So today's topic, we are on episode 59. You guys, this is going fast. So our topic is cracking the code, mastering problem solving skills. So just to get those skills, like I said, for myself, there are some times I'm having to make decisions, and I have been making a decision, which those of you who have been following for me for the longest, on retirement. You guys, this is not an easy decision for me. It's like, do I or don't I? And then of course, life decisions happen. Things happen. Things come into your life. So how do you master that and be able to do it skillfully without stumbling along the way and finding yourself getting stuck on your career goals, on your personal goals? And you know what? Those problem solving skills are important. It comes important when you want to make decisions or when you want to contribute on your job. You want to contribute to different projects that you're working on, no matter what it is. It helps. Problem solving helps with making decisions, making those life decisions. So that's why it's so important. And so as I was meditating on this weekend, even though I was having a lot of fun, I was accomplishing a lot of things, I was like, Lord, I really, really, really need your help on making this decision. And so this particular scripture became a foundation for me to help motivate me. And I want to share that with you. And that's Proverbs 16:3. And it says, commit to your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. So by developing problem solving skills, we can submit our plans to the Lord and also trust in Him to guide us on our path. And effective problem solving skills involves also critical thinking. And it's so funny, because going through college or going through school, even primary school, one of the things they're always talking about is, and you probably maybe see it on some type of evaluation, critical thinking, creativity, those type terms. And you're like, oh, what is this? Why are they grading me on that? It doesn't make any sense. I'm never going to use it. Well, I beg to differ that you are going to find that you are going to need those critical thinking skills. You're also going to need to be creative in those problem solving, because guess what? We also understand that when it comes to problem solving, one size does not fit all. In other words, even though I may have a problem and you may have experienced the same problem, and you may be able to share with me what you have done, it doesn't necessarily mean that it may fit my particular situation. Why? And you're like, well, why? Why is that the case? The case is because of our mentality, what we're thinking at that particular time, how we are feeling at that particular time, and what we are willing to commit to. Okay, what is our commitment to going through the process? So those are some reasons why it could be a lot different for one person to another. It could string, for instance, I have 3 children, and all 3 of them may experience the same problem. However, based on their way that they think, their personality, they may handle it differently. So therefore, it requires some creativity and some thinking on their part, and also their decision making skills to decide whether or not they're going to commit to the process. Prime example, I'll use this example. My 3 kids, okay, although they grew up in the same house, they all had the same opportunity. They all learned how to drive a car differently. Did they get the opportunity and did I push it on them? Yes. So my oldest son, he actually got his driver's license before he graduated. Okay, before he graduated. And everything was fine. Got his driver's license and and drove. So the second child, my second son, he turned around and even though he had the opportunity, he fought against driving. He fought against driving. He did get his permit, but he didn't get his driver's license until after he started his first job. Yes, you guys don't even ask. But thankfully, he is up in Atlanta, so he has the option to ride the MARTA. But everybody knows that's not the best option. Now, my youngest, who just graduated, same opportunity. But guess what? Again, this requires commitment to the process, making the decision, accepting the decision, and then going through the process. Each one was different. And no, she does not have her driver's license. So she's having to go through that process with her brother who's going to help her get that. So again, that whole process of problem solving does depend on the individual and their level of commitment to the process. So let's keep it moving on this particular topic. So I do want to give you some steps that you can identify with, as well as manage obstacles that will prevent you from achieving your goals. So again, today's scripture that is the foundation that will help you and motivate you. And you may have your own. It's going to be Proverbs 16:3, and then commit to your work. Commit to the work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. Once you commit to the process, you're going to find that achieving those goals are going to go a lot more smoother. So I have 6 steps for you to master problem solving. So the first one is define the problem. And some of these steps that I'm going to go through with you today, you may have heard these before in other episodes, but the great thing about it, you see that there is some consistency in what I am sharing with you, and so hopefully it will empower you. It will also encourage you to follow through with the steps. So the first one is define the problem. So you want to clearly identify the problem in the first step in being effective in problem solving. This particular step will help you focus on the specific issue and also reduce the risk of addressing the wrong problem. And so being able to identify that. So that is the first thing you want to do. The next thing you want to do, and you may have heard these before, different types of problem solving steps. Some of them are 3, 5. I happen to have 6. Okay. I'm gonna stick with the 6. So the next one is you want to gather. The next step you want to gather information. How you gather that information depends on the individual. So most people gather information by talking, communication, which is a type of interviewing. When you start looking at the scientific term of gathering information, so collecting that data information when it comes to the problem that you're looking to solve. Okay, so what that would do is it will help you to understand the underlying causes and also identify some potential solutions. This particular step may also involve conducting research, such as reading, talking to other people. Also, when it comes to consulting with some experts, like getting a coach or a consultant. And then again, as I said before, just seeking advice from peers or from family members that you trust. So that is another way to be able to master problem solving. And believe it or not, you're going to find, even though there's 6 steps, however many steps you decide to use, depending on the method that you have adopted for yourself, you will find that the more that you do this, that you actually would do it automatically. A lot of times we don't think that we do things automatically, but however, when you give it a little bit more attention, you will be more effective at problem solving. So again, step number 1 is identifying the problem. Step number 2 is you want to gather information. Whichever best method works for you. whether it's consulting somebody or seeking advice. Number three is you want to, once you're able to do that and you have focus on the right problem, you want to look at some options. You don't want to automatically do the first thing that you hear. I am a type of person that likes to have options. And I know, we always hear this saying, okay, the unstable mind, that when you can't make a decision or you have too many options, you have an unstable mind. But actually, that is a way of mastering problem solving when you generate options on how you're going to address the problem. So that could be through brainstorming, because once you've gotten that advice, you've consulted the expert. And myself as a coach, I'm actually going to prompt you to, okay, what are some ways that you can solve this problem? Well, you can do one, I can do A, B, and C. So, okay, so you're brainstorming now. So that is a way to generate options through brainstorming, also generating possible solutions. Can also expand the range of possible options for you to solve that problem. So this step also involves considering various options and also evaluating potential effectiveness. So again, that effectiveness could run into the amount of time that it would take you to accomplish that particular option, to put it in place, and also identifying whether or not there are going to be some barriers that may delay effectively addressing that problem. So on number four is you want to be able to evaluate your options. So once possible solutions are generated, it's also time to evaluate their effectiveness. This step requires the critical thinking part, okay, is where you are weighing the pros and cons of each option. So I know some of you have done this. So you literally can write on a piece of paper, you can write down what the problem is. Maybe it's your finances, okay? Addressing your finances. Okay, so what are the pros and cons of writing down the different options? How are you going to address fixing your finances? What are you going to do? Are you going to get a financial coach or somebody help you to create a budget? Are you going to turn? And so, what are the pros and cons for ways of fixing that problem? So maybe you can create a budget. Maybe you need to reduce some spending in some areas. I'll use for myself as an example. So at one point I was like, oh, I really want to fix the problem was my credit score. I wanted to increase my credit score. So what were some ways I can increase my credit score? And I was like, okay, Leah, you've already have skills to do the snowball debt. So I was like, okay, I could do the snowball debt. Well, what is the problem with doing snowball debt? Well, which bill will I start with first? Okay, so once I identify what bill I'll start first, I start writing down, okay, each bill after I did this snowball debt that I was going to apply to. And the end result I wanted my credit score to be between 750 and 810 or 800 is what I wanted my credit score to be. And then I was like, okay, I look at the pros and cons on doing the snowball debt versus going to a financial coach. And so one of the pros that I had was that, okay, I have better control and I'm making the decision myself. The con is whether or not I will commit to the process. So I made a conscious effort and I made up my mind that I was going to commit to the process. So as I committed to the process, literally in a year, I moved my credit score from 650 to 790 in a year. So again, I identified the problem. During that time period, also I evaluated. And again, this requires that critical thinking. It also requires you to weigh the pros and cons of each option. So that is just a little small example of a way that you can apply critical thinking. You can apply and master problem solving. So step number 5 is implement a solution. Again, that commitment part. So after you select the best option for yourself, it's time to implement the solution. This step involves also developing a plan of action and put it into practice. So my plan of action in increasing my credit score required me to also have accountability partner. I had accountability partner. So I went to two of the Lisas in my life who I've talked about before. And I was like, okay, you guys, I really want to have an open, honest conversation about finances. And we agreed together and we literally support each other. So we do talk about our finances. And believe it or not, that actually helped me along the way to be able to talk about finances openly with my children. Okay, so that we have those open conversations all the time, whether or not I'm retiring. We talk about credit cards, what we're doing, how we're managing them, and it became such a safe place for us in addressing the different problems that we have, but also seeking each other's advice, which is also one of the steps that I talked about on today. So again, this step and also helped me to develop a plan. So in implementing the solution, again, you want to develop a plan of action. And that could be just having an accountability partner, somebody that will hold you accountable to. And then also, you guys can celebrate those wins together. So, together, we all were increasing our credit score together. And it became a group thing. And we also shared that with family and friends who also became a part of it. So it became a family, affair type thing. So there are some great benefits in doing the different steps of problem solving. So the last thing we want to do, which we continue to do today with our finances, is we monitor the progress. Again, monitoring that progress also includes looking at some of your failures, because were there failures along the way? Absolutely, because things happen. For instance, I ended up with a medical bill because I had to take care of some health concerns that I had. And so I was like, oh man, so that did slow things down a little bit. But what did I do? I started right back at the top at step number one and worked my way back down to get myself back on track. So it's okay if you give yourself some grace. When you're going through these steps, and you get to step number 6 where you're monitoring the progress. Okay, you want to do it regularly so you'll be able to identify whether or not what you have put in place is working for you. Okay, whether or not it is effective. And also, you want to ensure that it's doing what it is that you're intended to do. And if the solution is not working for you, go back and revisit it. Go back to the previous steps, generate new options, and then put those into and implement those. Turn around and you want to evaluate the options, you want to implement, and then of course, number 2, you want to turn around and monitor them. Number 6, you want to monitor them. So again, let's go through these steps just one more time real quick. Okay, so we know that step number 1 is you want to identify the problem. Step number 2, gather that information, okay, whether it's through advice, whether it's through the consultant, or doing your own research, because we have a lot of information out there on the internet, but also you want to make sure you balance what you find in your research with another option of either through advice, through peers, or through a coach, a financial coach, like for me. And I did go see my financial advisor. I do have one. So I used all 3 of those to make my decisions. Okay. And also decide what my options were going to be. So again, generate those options. Once you gather that information, you want to generate those options. The next one is you evaluate the options. Okay, you want to be able to evaluate them to decide which ones will work for you. If you find that that particular option is not good for you, go back to your list and say, hey, I want to try this one over here, and that's absolutely okay, because the goal is to be able to stick with the best option that works for you. Just because it worked for somebody else doesn't necessarily mean it works. It doesn't mean it will work for you. And it doesn't mean that is the wrong option. It just means that it is your option. And so that is absolutely okay. So number 5, you want to implement. This is the hardest one that I find a lot of people do. They are able to identify the problem. They're able to go through the steps of deciding what options they're going to implement. But then when it comes to actually implementing, that is where a lot of people get stuck. This is where it becomes very helpful to have somebody that you can be accountable to. If you are somebody that is like, oh no, I like to do things on my own, and you're very good at committing to the process, congratulations. But there are a lot of people, and sometimes it's just depending on the situation. For some, you may like, oh, I can do this on my own, and you can commit to the process. But over here, it's like, oh, I really need to have some accountability, and that's absolutely okay too. So be able to find somebody that you're able, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a family member that you can consult with, that you trust, that's going to give, tell you no when you need to hear no, and yes when you need to hear yes. And then that last one is definitely is monitoring the progress. And you want to go back through this process from the top to the bottom. So you guys, I really do hope that you found some value in today's episode in mastering problem solving. Please feel free to come back and rewatch this episode again and put these into action for yourself as you are accomplishing goals for this week. So as we conclude this episode on developing effective problem solving skills, I want to remind you that having a strong sense of self and finding your voice is crucial to overcoming obstacles and achieving your goals. And so I hope that you would join me on next week on Keep It Moving Monday Morning Motivations. My name is Dr. Lia Abney, and I thank you so much, because we will be discussing the topic of finding your voice, unlocking your inner potential on next episode. So in that episode, we'll explore the importance of self-expression and also share practical tips to help you discover and embrace your unique talents, passions, and beliefs. So I want to thank you so much. And I hope that you don't miss this opportunity to unleash your full potential and become the best version of yourself. Until then, please remember to trust in the Lord and commit to your past and to help him, your plans to him, As Proverbs 16:3 reminds us, thank you for tuning in, and may God bless you, and with the courage to speak your truth.
Are you connected to the right resources to grow and achieve your goals in your personal life or for your business? Let Lia Abney LLC Consulting Services help you connect, communicate, and commit to the building process of growing your business to the next level. A veteran with over 20 years of managing multi-million-dollar projects, Lia Abney, owner, author, and motivational speaker, has keen insight and knowledge in the value of collaboration and strategy planning to keep you moving to the next level in building a legacy. Visit her website at www.liaabneyllc.biz. That's www.liaabneyllc.biz for more information.